So, Tisla, what are we going to talk about today?
We are going to talk about understanding the root cause of disease. What is it that causes disease, actually?
I love this topic because, I think in our society today, we often, I don't know, like I have suffered from many symptoms of disease. And, we always think, okay, if I'm sick, I need to go to the doctor. I'm excited to talk about this topic because in some cases, maybe we don't need to go to the doctor. Maybe we can skip the doctor and like do some learning
Right.
ourselves and heal ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's it's very interesting. Yeah, I've also had like so many different health issues actually over the years, and like looking back in my younger years in life, like some of these smaller things, that most people look at as common things. People get glasses. That's not a big deal. I got my glasses in second grade, and but looking back, I mean, that's just a sign. That's macular degeneration. Why does that happen? We're not taught these things, and looking back, I'm like, I wish I knew back then what I know now. But it is reversible. You can fix these things, but like as the years went by, there was just so many different issues that I got until I just completely was so bad off. So it's kind of like a matter of going back and figuring out what causes this so that we can reverse this, and also in many people prevent these things from happening.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think sometimes we blame it on genetics, right? We're like,
Yeah.
oh, my mom had glasses, so that just
Right.
means that I'm gonna have glasses too. It's like a no-brainer. We don't have to
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's like you said, many of those things are so
Yeah.
reversible, and with
Yeah.
lifestyle habits, with learning about what
Yeah.
actually causes these problems to happen, we can
Yeah.
a lot of times cure ourselves.
Yes,
Praise God.
definitely.
Praise God.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, like it's interesting, like looking at like genetics, for instance. So, I've learned, like why is it that genetic traits happen in families? You've got some families where cancer is a tendency. You've got others where diabetes is a thing, high blood pressure, like they run in family lines. And why is it that that actually happens? And I finally figured out why, and it's so interesting. It has to do with, the lymphatic system, the great lymphatic system. And when a mother is pregnant and she delivers that baby, the baby's the one who inherits the lymphatic system of the mother. And not only that, but every single organ and gland and cell has electricity in it. And when it's been surrounded by acidity, which we're going to get into this, but when it's been surrounded by acidity, it reduces the electrical effect of those glands. So you end up with, reduced, effectiveness of different areas in combination of inheriting that clogged lymphatic system. And then you take on the diet of the family, of what they're used to eating. So it's like, it makes so much sense once you understand it, but it's just, yeah, I wish that we were taught these things. you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Let's normalize that. Let's normalize
right.
teaching, yeah, our
Yeah,
families and our communities, because
yeah,
really that's how it starts, right?
definitely. Yeah,
So as
yeah,
we're trying to understand like the root cause of disease, maybe we can just establish like what is disease? What is
yeah,
dis-ease?
yeah.
Do you have a definition that you kind of stem from as far as dis-ease goes?
Well, diseases, from what I've understood, are just symptoms of acidity levels. So like, our bodies, humans, we have this balance. Everything in the world around us is this balance of acidity and alkalinity, and you have to have that balance. You can't just be completely acidic, or you'll be dead. You can't be completely alkaline, that would also not work. So you have to have this balance, but humans are predominantly alkaline, so we have to be alkaline dominant in order for our bodies to function properly. When we start becoming more acidic, then all of these things, it starts to create weaknesses within our cells. Those weaknesses, cause cellular damage, organ damage. Everything's made up of cells. So organ damage, tissue damage, intestinal damage. And then we start getting all these symptoms, irritable bowel syndrome, or heart problems, or all these different things. Those are just representations of that acidity in those different areas of the body. So that's why, like, in medicine, they try to focus on the individual thing. Oh, you have a heart problem, let's give you medication for your heart. Or you have a skin problem, let's give you medication for that. Instead of actually getting to, like, why are these things happening? Yeah.
Interesting because so many
Mm.
diseases are caused by this imbalance of the acid alkaline ratio in the body, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, you know, oftentimes disease shows up differently for different people, right? So
Yeah.
like I have struggled with skin issues and hormonal
Yeah.
balance issues.
Yeah.
You've struggled with, you know,
Yeah.
infertility and other things like with related with hormones and
Yeah.
so many other things too. And you know, everybody, it kind of shows up different for different people, but
Yeah.
coming back to why,
Yeah.
it's very similar. The
It is.
reasons why are so similar.
It is. Yeah. It's really amazing. And like I took some classes from Dr. Morris. You've probably heard of him. And it's really interesting because he says all disease comes back down to this acidity thing. So it's like instead of us focusing on all these random different diseases and symptoms, you know, usually also if somebody has one issue, they don't just have one issue. You know, if they have PCOS, they often have insulin resistance, or they have, you know, too much testosterone, or they have like acne, or they have infertility, and then they have all these other things that can lead to insomnia, excess hair growth, and all these different things. So it's like yeah, you don't ever just have one issue. It always just kind of, you start with symptoms like acne, or maybe not such good sleep, cramping legs. Those are very early symptoms of acidity, and then it's just going to escalate from there to diabetes and cancer and all these different things. So
Right.
yeah.
So if a person is struggling with symptoms,
Yeah.
what do you think is what do you think are some ways that they could possibly find out or like test or experiment with their own body as far as like finding out if it is related to the acid alkaline balance?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny because like when I talk to people about these things, and you know, I'm all about raw food, and I've tried so many different things like with health. You know, I've tried like every supplement out there, every detox, every formula, everything, every diet. And like the only thing that's like kind of not kind of the only thing that has worked, the only thing that has given me some sort of like a immediate kind of effect is going on raw food, especially like going on a juice fast. So you can kind of like choose, you know, how strong you want the detox to go. If you want to dive head first in, you know, go into like a grape fast, eat only grapes, dark grapes for like a couple weeks, and you're gonna feel it after a couple days. After just a couple days, you're gonna have major detox symptoms of like you're going to break out into a fever, you're going to have diarrhea, you maybe have rashes on your face, and like all these different types of things. And that's like normal detox symptoms. And so after you kind of get over that, after a few days, you're going to start to notice, you know, that you have lots of energy and that you're feeling better. You don't feel bogged down. Your head is getting clearer. You're sleeping better, and all these different things. So, you know, with any kind of thing that anyone recommends, you know, you have to see if you're getting the results that you're wanting. If you're not actually getting those results, then maybe it's not working. So, but with this, I have to say, anyone who tries this perspective, they will notice something.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, definitely. It's
yeah,
interesting because even just the switch of coming to raw foods, right? You mentioned a grape fast
yeah,
or you know, predominantly fruit, but even just switching
yeah,
to raw foods, it's so
definitely,
amazing how the
yeah,
electrical energy in raw foods transforms our bodies from the inside out. And it's really um it's able to regenerate the cells, right?
yeah,
We start cellular regeneration, we also start
yeah,
detoxing, and it's
yeah,
just amazing because just that shift, I see my clients making just this shift of simply adding in more raw foods to their diet. They don't
yeah,
even stop eating cooked foods yet.
right, yeah,
Just adding in some raw foods, and they start to
yeah,
see their symptoms go away. They start to clear their skin. They
yeah,
start to lose weight unintentionally.
yeah,
They start to get more energy, get better sleep. There's like so many things that improve
yeah,
simply by making small changes, right? It doesn't have
yeah,
to be super drastic. We don't have to all like water fast for 40 days,
yeah, yeah,
right? We
yeah,
don't even have to do grape
yeah,
fast for an
right,
extended period of time. You know, that is something that's definitely available. And like,
yeah,
if you're wanting to do that, like I'm actually going to be doing that with my parents in a
yeah.
couple of weeks. I'm really
Oh,
excited.
oh,
um,
that'd
yeah.
be fun.
So it's just so interesting because, you know, there's many levels. And I
Yeah,
think for a person who's, you know, eating the standard American diet, it might not be healthy to do
Right.
like an all fruit or a grape fast or a water fast right off the bat, that may
Yeah.
trigger some adverse,
Yeah.
like really severe detox situations that may
Yeah.
deter you ever from doing it again.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and we don't want that, right? So
No,
we're
yeah.
definitely like knowing that there's steps and that there's levels
Yeah.
so that we can restore the alkaline balance of our body. Because I think the normal pH of human blood is around 7.4 on the pH scale, I think.
Yeah.
And just considering that, if we eat a lot of acidic foods,
Yeah.
meats, dairy, processed foods, um, anything really that comes in a package,
Yeah.
then our blood is likely too acidic.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I was just learning this in my classes, and Dr. Morse was saying that, when the blood, it has a very small window of like it can't become too acidic and it can't go too alkaline. It has to stay kind of within that certain window. And if it goes too much either direction, you've got like 3 minutes to live. So like you have to, like, the blood is trying everything that it can to like keep itself within that window. So what it does, and nobody really runs the risk of being too alkaline unless you're like pumping your body full of some sort of drug that's alkaline. Nobody's going to be too alkaline. So we have to focus on like being too acidic. And most people are too acidic. So, what happens is, after eating a McDonald's hamburger or something, your body is trying to compensate for all of that. So it goes and it pulls out alkaline elements, and calcium is one of them. So when you see different things like calcium plaquing, bone spurs, calcifications, in your eyes and different places, or cholesterol, that's another one. There's different things the body pulls, trying to compensate. So you can actually be calcium, you can have too much calcium in your system, with bone spurs everywhere, but you can be extremely calcium deficient within your cells. And so that's why kind of taking a blood test doesn't really help, because it might give you a false picture, of what's actually going on. But you have to look at symptoms sometimes with some of these things. If someone has bone spurs, that's an acidic problem. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
that's so interesting because like you just mentioned, sometimes a blood test wouldn't help because the blood test would show that your
Yeah.
calcium levels are fine,
Yeah.
but at the same time there are these underlying issues. There are these problems that are occurring as a
Yeah.
result of being too acidic.
Yeah. And I mean, what would you say is the best way to get calcium? Do you think drinking cow's milk? That's what we're told the best way to get calcium is? Or
Definitely no. Definitely no. I love getting calcium from sesame seeds. I eat a lot of sesame seeds, tahini.
Yeah.
Leafy greens are full of calcium, and one thing that's really cool is with eating an abundance of colorful foods, when we combine colors,
Yeah.
we usually get better absorption of the vitamins and minerals that are in them.
Definitely.
So,
Yeah.
I'm not over here just like eating a jar of tahini all by itself to get my calcium.
Oh, I love tahini. It's really good.
But I'm like adding it into maybe a salad dressing that I'm making, or
Yeah.
maybe even a smoothie. Sometimes like a nut milk smoothie.
Yeah.
Nuts
Yeah.
are also like a good source of a lot of different minerals.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah, it's really good. It's
Yeah.
amazing, like looking, at like the plant world and like what God has given us to eat. It's like, we don't need to worry about being B12 deficient or being deficient in calcium or all these different things. If we eat a good variety of like the foods that we were given, it all works together like in harmony, and we actually get what we need, instead of thinking about like, oh, I have to supplement with this and we have to supplement with that because we're not getting enough. If we're not getting enough, then we need to look at why we're not getting enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for a person who maybe they've been told by their doctor, like you're deficient.
Yeah.
You're deficient in something, or you have excess of something and you need to make some changes.
Yeah.
Do you think that following a doctor's advice no matter what is the predominant thing, or do you think that maybe we need to start to take control of our own health and make decisions for ourselves based on what we find works for us? Where do you see
Yeah.
the balance there?
Yeah, I get questions about this on whether I'm like anti-medicine or not. And I would just say, first of all, that, there's a place for doctors, and I'm not like anti-doctor. In emergency situations, if someone's life is on the line and they could be saved by giving them some sort of a drug, then do it.
Yeah.
But what I'm against is like these lifestyle habits that create disease, and you can't reverse a disease based off of a lifestyle habit by giving them a drug. It only band-aids the symptoms, and it doesn't fix the root cause. So I definitely agree with you. I think that, if you're having these issues, diabetes or high blood pressure or cancer or some of these things, instead of just, necessarily going the doctor route, maybe do some investigation and figure out why is it these things are occurring, because they can be reversed with the right approach. And it's not always so easy to find the answers. It's a lot of this information gets taken off the internet. But if you do some research, you do find it. And I would definitely, suggest looking into that. Like cancer, for instance, what causes cancer? Cancer is because of, as Dr. Morse says, he says it's interstitial constipation. So when the interstitial fluid is completely clogged and all that is, cellular waste is backed up, it's like completely burning the cells. And when cells are burning and they're being damaged, they start to mutate. And that's where cancer comes from. So, injecting your body with a very low alkaline substance to burn it off is only contributing to the acidic level in your system. It might kill those clumps of cells that are multiplying, but it's not going to fix the problem. This is why people go in and get cancer treatments and they're like, oh, I'm cancer free. And then a year later it comes back. Why does it keep recurring in the same place? And why does it often come back worse than the last time they had it? They're not fixing the problem. They're just getting rid of that one clump of cell that's, multiplying. So yeah, it's a very interesting topic.
Yeah. So with regarding fixing the problem, right? No matter what symptoms we seem to have, whether it's, acne or diabetes or, high cholesterol, how do you think detox is the place to start with, starting to fix the problem? Do you think that, some small lifestyle changes are a place to start? Where should a person start? If they're just like wanting to address the symptom that they're having.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on like, your situation. And like you said, not everybody should just dive straight into like a juice fast or like a fruit fast, or there's a lot of people out there that are way too weak for something like that. That could be, some of the detox they could get from that could be so severe. It's not going to take you out, but it could be really bad. And yeah, so you definitely want to like, if you're on medication or whatever, don't just quit everything, because it's not good to just quit everything either. Work with your doctor if you're on medication, but start something. If you want to start gently, go into, like you said, a raw diet and get acclimated with that. And then as you feel good on that, then go, a little bit deeper, because, you're going to need to get into deeper levels of detoxification in order to, completely cleanse out your system. But if you're feeling good, other than having some symptoms, and you feel like you're ready to go straight in, go all in. But like, you have to kind of just analyze, where you're at and like what you feel you're good to do. But definitely definitely cleansing out your system is the way to go.
Yeah. I love that you're talking about, small lifestyle changes combined with maybe a little bit more of those detoxification protocols. With regards to like cleansing out the system, I'm wondering if we can talk about a little bit of a taboo topic, like what happens in the bathroom,
Yes.
Because a lot of people think that constipation is normal, or a lot of people think that really yellow urine is normal. And are these indications of some kind of imbalance in the body? Should we be concerned about certain types of bowel movements or something like that?
Yeah, well, what comes out is a reflection of what's going on the inside. And, it's interesting because medicine basically says that if your urine is clear, then you're doing good. If you drink and you pee, you're good to go. But that's not exactly the truth. Your body, there's two different places there's actually three. There's three ways that we eliminate. Our skin is known as the third kidney. So we eliminate through our skin, which is why we see a lot of acne in people with clogged lymphatic system, all that white, pus coming out and everything. That's just backed up lymphatic fluid trying to come out somewhere. But also the kidneys. So we have billions of cells. They're eating every day and they're pooping, and that waste has to go somewhere. If it's just not going anywhere, that backs up. That stuff is very acidic, and that acidifies our entire lymphatic system. So when we go to the bathroom, you can check to see if you're filtering. If you pee in a jar, and it sounds crazy, but pee in a jar and see, do you see any sediment? There should be, like, the color is not necessarily in this analyzation, like what you should be looking at. There should be a lot of debris in there. There should be, white flakes. There should be stringy things. There should be, let it sit for a few hours. There should be a sediment, at the bottom. If there's no sediment, if it's crystal like clear with nothing in there, then you're not filtering at all. And that's not a good place if you're not filtering. It can be kind of challenging to get filtration back if you've completely lost it. And also, like in regards to eating, we eat, so we produce waste, and that waste also has to come out. If that waste doesn't come out, it backs up and also creates more acidity. So kind of like, it depends a little bit on what you're eating. I say, generally speaking, if you're eating 3 meals a day, you should be pooping 3 times a day. But if you're on a fruit fast and you're eating throughout the day, then that's also healthy. But like, but you won't be pooping throughout the day if you're eating only fruit. It's like, it works together in a good way. But if you're eating all day on whatever, then that's not going to be good either. So yeah, just kind of, you have to kind of like analyze what's coming out and see. And there's, of course, I don't know if you want to get into like how it looks and all those different things, like how should your poop look, and actually that's something that I talk with people about. I know it's super taboo, but it's like, it's super important, because like, most people don't know, like, it shouldn't be explosive, it shouldn't be sticky, it shouldn't be all of these different things. Just because it's coming out doesn't mean that, like, oh good, it's finally out. I mean, like like, it needs to be a certain way. And technically speaking, perfect digestion means you don't need toilet paper at all. So getting to that point is like a goal. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I have read that also, and I'm like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
God created us with the ability to not need this thing that we spend money on every single month.
Right? Right. It's kind of like flushing money down the toilet. So it's like, I mean, literally. So, yeah.
I think it's so important that you mentioned that there are multiple elimination pathways in the body. I think for a long time, I only knew about the digestive elimination.
Yeah.
Like what you eat, and then like what goes in the toilet, like
right.
Right.
Yeah.
I never considered that, and I never considered that my kidneys were an elimination pathway, and that my urine was telling me something about how my kidneys were functioning. I never considered that my skin was an elimination pathway, and the condition of my skin was telling me something about my lymphatic system. Yeah. And I think this is so important, because for a person who's just, realizing, well, my symptoms are actually a sign of acidity in my body, and I need to do something about it. I think that focusing on these 3 elimination pathways and observing them is a great way to kind of see where you're at. Yeah, and definitely how far you need to consider changing, doing something different, whether that's changing your lifestyle habits or doing some kind of fast or detoxification protocol, right? It kind of can give you a ballpark idea. And it's so interesting because, when you go to the doctor and you get a physical, you give them a urine sample, you give them a feces sample. Yeah. And it just makes you wonder, like, no one's ever told me that there was a problem with my urine before. Right. But I'm checking right now that I'm peeing in a jar and I'm looking for the sediment. I'm like, where's the sediment? And so it's like, oh, like there's something wrong, right? There's something that needs some attention. There's some places in my diet and my lifestyle that need changing, so that I can get my elimination systems going, so that I don't have this acid buildup, so that I don't later have some kind of disease that I get diagnosed with. Suddenly it came. Well, it wasn't sudden.
No, it was not sudden. Oh, that's very true. Yeah. I mean, like, looking back at like my symptoms as well. I mean, like I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism when I was 11. That should have been like first clue that something is like really not right. And then I was diagnosed with PCOS when I was like 19. And then I was told that I would be diabetic in not very long. And then I got really bad hypoglycemia. And it was just like these things just kept progressing. And so then it's just sort of like, yeah, definitely. You don't just wake up one day and you're super sick. These things have built over many years.
So for anyone who's watching who maybe has suffered from or is suffering from some of the symptoms that Tisla or I have mentioned, or maybe you're suffering from completely different symptoms, I just want to encourage you to start asking why and dig deeper into the underlying reasons why this disease, why this symptom has shown up, because
Yeah.
it's not something that you developed over the last month. If you've been diagnosed over the last month, it's something that's been building up over time. It's something that is a direct result of the lifestyle that you're living, the foods that you eat, the place where you live, possibly, the
Yeah.
amount of sunshine and rest that you get. A lot of different factors play into our overall health. And so I
Yeah.
just want to encourage you to, while maybe you're going to a traditional doctor, to also do your own research and
Mm.
don't simply blindly take the medication that your doctor is giving you and just say, yep, this is my doom for the rest of my life, because it doesn't have to be.
No. Yeah, definitely. Oh, that's so true. It's like a freedom, like when you can understand the cause and effect, it's like a freedom, because it's like, how should I put it? There's a lot of people I talk to and they're like, I have to what? I have to go on raw foods and I have to juice and I have to take herbs and everything. But it's like, don't look at it in that sense. Look at it in the sense that like you're going to have energy back. You're going to feel amazing. Your taste buds are going to change and you will actually really appreciate the raw foods. Of course, cooked pizza is really delicious, but like all it is it tastes good. And then you feel heavy afterwards and it doesn't digest well and like causes disease. So it's like, instead of, focusing on what you can't have, focus on what you can have. You can feel amazing and you can get your life back and you don't have to be on pills forever. So it's all in kind of like, how you look at it. And what we're giving up in a sense is worth it in regards to what we're getting in return. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. The trade-off,
Yeah.
it's priceless. Honestly, it's priceless, right? I was just talking with someone the other day, and I believe in God. You believe in God. We believe that heaven exists after this life. But what if
Yeah.
we're wrong? What if
Yeah.
there is no heaven? Okay,
Yeah.
let's consider this for a moment. If there's no heaven, I would rather live a disease-free, pain-free, abundant life on earth, enjoying the provision of God, and then
Definitely.
be like, I lived the best that I could,
Yeah.
instead
Definitely.
of suffering from all of these things and just accepting them as my fate, as
Yeah.
my, like, well, these are the cards I was dealt. Like, no, we have the opportunity, we have the invitation,
Yeah.
from the God who loves us, to enjoy the abundance that he created, to
Yeah.
become fully healed, right? Not just physically, but also mentally and spiritually. Because I know we've been talking a lot about physical health, but as we find that disease in the physical body is something that can be addressed and cured, disease
Yeah.
in the mental, in the mind, and
Yeah.
disease in the spiritual self can also be addressed and can also be cured. And we have access to, living pain free, but
Yeah.
not only pain free, we
Correct.
have access to the abundant life, to the
Yeah.
abundant life that Jesus promised, that, we don't have to live in a box. It doesn't have to be restrictive. Like you said, it's very freeing. It gives us the ability to embrace what nature,
Yeah.
what is provided to us in nature, and
Yeah.
and it gives us the ability to really enjoy life at that next level, right? With more energy,
Yeah.
just the joy that we have from
Yeah.
feeling like I'm healthy and I know that I'm healthy.
Yeah. Oh, so true. Yeah. Oh, there's so many things I was thinking about when you're talking about about that. But like one thing that when I discovered this, I just thought it was so amazing. Like, and this is just like a little spiritual thought combined with like with yeah, what we're experiencing. And it's interesting because the one thing that's known to like clean out the lymphatic system faster and better than anything is grapes, dark, rich, colored grapes. And that's interesting because basically that means it's cleaning out acidity, it's cleaning out waste, it's cleaning out what is damaging our body, and it purifies us. But then it's interesting looking in the Bible, and Jesus refers to his blood as grape juice. It's like compared to grape juice. And if you look at what Jesus does, he goes in, and when we drink his blood, which is sounds weird, but it's a biblical analogy. So basically, taking Jesus into your life, letting him come into you. And when you do that, he'll go in and he'll purify sin. He'll take sin out of you. He'll clean you up, and he'll give you like a new life, and you will have life abundantly. And it's just so interesting to me to see how, truly God has taken something that's like, as he thinks, in heaven, how things operate in heaven. He's made it very practical for us down here. And he's used the two to compare. And it's like, wow, understanding that was just so fascinating.
Yeah. Wow. I've never made that connection. So thank you for sharing. That's so
Yeah.
powerful. It's amazing how when we are on this journey towards
Yeah.
health in all of the ways, that the connections are so clear
Yeah.
and that they're abundant, right?
They are.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. And that we don't have to be lost and confused. We don't have to be like, not knowing what steps to take to become healthier, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if somebody, wants to make some changes, if they want to start a detox,
Yeah.
are you able to help them with that in any way, shape,
Definitely.
or form?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, as I was saying before, I just got done studying Dr. Morse's classes, and so I've become a certified detoxification specialist, and it's so much fun, like talking about these things with people. So, yeah, definitely send me a message on Instagram, or you can go to my website, which, yeah, you can find that on my Instagram page as well, and yeah, we can talk about it and see what we can do to help you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So if you've been resonating with what Tisla and I have been talking about today, and you want to start addressing the cause of some kind of dis-ease in your life, I encourage you to get in touch with either one of us. You can also just leave a comment on the video. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions related to what we've talked about, please leave them. We want to get to know you. We want to help. We want to serve you in a way that empowers you to get your health back.
Yes.
We've been taught so many things about health, and it's not that Tisla or I have all the answers, but we know someone who does.
Yes.
We know someone who does, and I
Yeah.
just thank God because he's able to use humans to carry out His will on earth. And if you're struggling with not knowing what to do, as far as detox, or as far as getting your body more alkaline, I know Tisla specializes in balancing hormones and reversing some of those chronic symptoms. I specialize in helping to clear skin. I'm also on my way to becoming a certified raw food chef, which I'm super excited about. It's one of the things that the more that I study, the more passionate I become about making living foods easy and accessible and simple for everyone. Because I know sometimes, we think, oh, but raw food lifestyle is so like, exotic. I could never make those foods like for myself or for my family. And that's one area that, my passion is growing in, is just making it super easy and simple for everyone, because it's really, living foods are the regenerative tools that God has given us. So we'll leave our Instagram handles in the description of this video. Mine is at Life Loving Jesus.
And mine is at rossum.tisla. That's THECLA.
Awesome. So Tisla, do you have any last comments or things you want to mention to any of our viewers or about this topic?
Oh, it's such an exciting topic. This is like the topic that I could just talk all day about, because there's so much to talk about, but I'm so happy that I could talk with you today about it. And yeah, I'm just, if anyone has any questions, just send me a message, because there's so many different things, on all of these different topics. And, but getting to the root cause, that is what's going to give you healing. So definitely look into that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Tisla, it's been so good chatting with you. Let's do it again soon.
Let's do it. That'll be fun.
For our viewers, if you have any suggestions for what you'd like to hear Tisla and I chat about, please also leave those in the comments. We are always open to, talking about what you have questions about or what you're curious about. So we're here to serve you, and I hope that you found this video informative, helpful. Let us know, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, talk to you later.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.